Hello, Waswere here, back with another video, and today we're going to be doing something a little crazy. We're going to do a loot from 10 million Barrows. I know it sounds like a lot, but I think I can do it and think that I can get this video out in time for you guys. So it's been about an hour, and we only have 23 chests done. It's going a little slower than I anticipated, and I put it into the calculator. And if we do this nonstop for the next 49 years, I'll get to the 10 million kills. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend 50 years doing Barrows, so we're going to have to go about this a slightly different way. Luckily, I have an engineering degree that I do not use regularly, so we can simulate this with math. Here's my code base. It's not very good, but it gets the job done. It's probably been about 5 years since I coded something, and I think that was for my ex-girlfriend for her thesis in grad school. It was a long time ago. I really don't want to bore you with the details of the code here, but I'm just going to step through it briefly. So this whole first section here is just for all the RNG drops. So for example, I randomly generate numbers between two variables. So for here, this R number is randomly generated between A and B. So A is 0 and B is 960. So therefore, I'm able to pull a specific number. And all these different variables here are just different amount of random numbers I need. For example, the mind runes, when you get them, they range from 3,500 to 700 in a drop. So that is a random number we need to sort through. Now, for this next section here, these are just pre-definitions of the outputs. This is where all the data is going to go. So it stores the Linza items, the Barrows items, the totems, the Amulet of Forsakens, the Corruption Sigil, and the other commons. There's 9 different other commons, so that's why there's a 9 there. And this X, Y, and K are just placeholder numbers. So if X is equal to 0, that means that Barrows log is not done yet. And if Y is equal to 0, that means the Linza portion of it are not done. And K is just the overall kill count. So this first while function here just stops it once the kill count has reached 10 million. So it checks to see at the start of every loop whether the kill count is 10 million. And if it is, it just stops it and the code is done. There are 3 different ways that you can actually kill the Barrows brothers efficiently for getting the log done. If you need both Linza and regular Barrows items, you want to kill all 7 brothers and Linza. If you only need the regular Barrows brothers drops, then you skip Linza because her drops actually take away the chance of you getting one of the items you need, and it also takes longer. But if you have all the regular Barrows brothers done and you still need Linza, then you want to only kill Linza and avoid the rest of them. So once it knows which one to go through, either this first one here where it's both, the second one where Linza is done but Barrows is not, and this third one where Barrows is done and Linza is not, it will pick a drop. So based on the random numbers here, you'll determine whether it hits Linza. Then if that misses, it'll roll another random number for each of the 7 loots to see if you get a Barrows item. And for each of the 7 loots, it then picks a common if you don't happen to get one of the rares. The only assumption I made here was the Amulet drop rate. The Amulet of the Forsaken, we don't really know. It's been tested a little bit, but Jagex hasn't officially given it. So I gave it a 1 in 512 drop rate, but you get 7 rolls per kill, so it ends up being about 1 in 75 to 80 per chest. And I think that is an accurate number based on the logs I've seen from people. And then once it picks the drop, it comes down here, it adds 1 to the kill count, then it checks to see if Barrows is done. And if it has all 32 of the Barrows items and the sigil and the totems, then it'll make the placeholder value to the current kill count. So that's how I can track when the Barrows portion of the log was done each time. And then it does the same thing for Linza. And it comes down here, checks to see if you have all 5 items from Linza. And if you do, then it makes the Y variable to the current kill count. And once it's gone through one whole rotation and it's completed the collection log, it's going to add 1 to n. And by adding 1 to n, it puts everything into a new row or a new column. So for example, Barrows 1 1 will store the first collection log of that first Barrows item, which is the Aram's hood. And then Barrows 1 2 will store the amount of Aram's hood on the second collection log. And it goes all the way through until it's reached 10 million kills. This was way faster than doing it in game, because in game I was only getting those 23 kills per hour, but now I'm getting about 35 million kills per hour, which not too shabby. So let's get into the data. The log was completed 4,372 times. In those kills, there was a total of 82,824 amulets dropped, which, if you were able to sell them all for 25 mil each, would be about 2 trillion GP by itself, let alone all the other drops. Like the coin drops alone was 31 billion, which sounds like a lot, but that's only 3.1k per chest. There was also 49,459 Linza pieces that were dropped, and 576,425 regular Barrows pieces that were also dropped. In looking at specific logs, I want to look at the luckiest log, the average log, and then the unluckiest log. First up, we have the luckiest log. It was accomplished in 704 kills, with the Barrows portion of the log being completed at 580, and only having 64 total Barrows items. That means on average 2 each, which is really low. And the Linza log was then completed at 704 kills, with only 5 Linza pieces. That means each one was unique, super lucky, and getting all 5 Linza items to be uniques is about a 1 in 25-ish chance to happen. On top of that, they also went under the drop rate with 5 items in 704 kills. But it doesn't stop there, as the crazy part is that it doesn't just stop at getting new uniques and getting the log done quickly. They also got 12 amulets of the Forsaken, which is also way under drop rate. Just an insane amount of luck stacked on top of each other, but that kind of makes sense because we're looking at 10 million kills and over 4,000 completions of the log. The total loot from the log was 487.2 mil, and if we take our 23 kills per hour that we got before, that's a crazy 15.9 mil per hour. But remember that this is the top of luck, so don't expect that. I know I haven't been getting this lucky at Barrows. Now let's look at the average log. This is the data over the entire course of the 10 million kills and the 4,000 plus completions. I decided to do average over median because I feel average better represents what you could expect to get. The average log was completed in 2287 KC, with the Barrows portion of the log being completed at 1361 on average, while the Linza log was being completed at 2160 on average. That means a large majority of people were finishing Barrows before they were finishing Linza and had to do some Linza only runs to get the end of their log done. There were a total of 132 Barrows items per log, and they were normally distributed between the 32 items, as we're at a point where there is enough KC that the minuscule differences between the items don't make a big difference when divided by 4,000. And that leads to 4.125 each. For Linza, the story is a little different, as it took 11 drops on average to get the log, meaning 2.2 per item. There was also 19 amulets on average, as the longer you do Barrows, the more you're gonna get. The rest of the commons are pretty similar, but scaled up to more KC. The total loot was just shy of 1 bill with 852 mil, and seeing as the log took approximately 100 hours to do, that leads to an average GP of 8.5 mil per hour. Here's the fun, or if you're currently dry on an item at Barrows like me, the scary part: the unluckiest log over the course of 10 million kills. It took 8,161 KC to complete the log, which is absolutely insane. That's about 4 times the average to get it done. But not only that, they finished the regular Barrows log really early. After 895 KC, which is well below average, things were looking good. But they took a massive turn for the worse, as it took 38 Linza items to get the final item they need. That stinking Linza's hammer. 8 helms, 9 cuirasses, 11 greaves, and 9 shields before they got lucky. By the 20th or 30th Linza piece, I for sure would have given up and probably quit the game. But because they did so many runs, even though they are only getting 1 roll per kill, the commons aren't half bad. But they still pale in comparison to if they were doing all the brothers for those 8,000 kills. The total loot is 834 mil, which is still less than the average. Just shows you how much the Barrows brothers make up the GP per hour, and they only did 900 KC with killing all the brothers and 7,200 KC with only killing Linza. I did up the kills per hour to 30 for this one, as when you're only killing Linza, it's pretty easy to go that quickly. But even with that consideration, we are left with a pitiful 2.7 mil per hour and a lost sanity at Barrows. Not fun. One thing I should mention is that I didn't take the Mauritania Hard Diary bonus runes into consideration, so the GP per hour will be higher if you have that on the minimum, average, and the maximum one. But that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a little different from what I've done of late, but playing around with math and coding was a lot of fun. I set myself a challenge of being able to simulate Barrows drops, and I was able to turn it into a video. Now that I have this quote-unquote talent, I want to do this for all 32 collection logs in game. I think it's a cool little exercise, and I can do one every week or so. Please let me know what boss you want me to do next in the comments down below, but also remember that the more information we have on something, the better the simulation can be and the less assumptions I have to make. So something like Raksha will probably have to wait until we have the official drop rates, but something like Magister is pretty easy to simulate as we have all the info in front of us. If you enjoy this type of video, please drop a like. It really helps me determine what videos you guys want, and if you have any questions, leave another comment down below. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.